I feel like it should be some kind of, perfume or cologne commercial with this bottle. Forbidden. Marianne Eaves reinvents Kentucky bourbon with forbidden debut. Well, at least that's what the marketing says. It goes on to say this is a revolutionary new bourbon from Kentucky's first female master distiller, Marianne Eaves. Forbidden is a new company with Eaves as its creative leader, together with 4 South Carolina-based partners. The goal is seeking to rewrite the rules of how bourbon is made, from char and fermentation to blending and bottling, with the general theme of releases that go against various aspects of what might be considered common whiskey industry practice. I don't know about all that, but I'll give it one thing. It's a pretty bottle, but it's what's inside that counts. Let's see how forbidden this stuff really is. It's the Mash and Drum. What's up, folks? I'm Jason C from the Mash and Drum, and welcome back to the show. Like, subscribe, help grow the channel for 2023, Whiskey Tube family. Thanks so much for coming back. First and foremost, this is touted as the spirit industry's first white corn and white winter wheat expression of bold Kentucky bourbon. Now, the team at Forbidden was interested in using some unique grains, white corn and white wheat specifically, and Marianne Eaves was given the freedom to specify exactly what kind and how much of each of those ingredients are used. So she came up with a unique recipe that she doesn't believe has ever been released on the market before. The brand is designed around collaboration with Spirit from the Bardstown Bourbon Company, but according to Marianne Eaves, it also actually contains some of the more mature spirit she distilled at Castle and Key when she was there. Now, the brand said it's the spirit industry's first cuisine quality white corn and white winter wheat expression of bold Kentucky bourbon inspired by Southern cooking, and an experiment in capturing new bourbon flavors achieved by non-traditional low temperature fermentation. So there's a lot that is said there that is quite the reach, in my opinion. Now, while the exact recipe may have never been used before, white wheat and low fermentation temperatures are nothing new nor forbidden in the world of bourbon. It's been used before. On top of that, what's curious is this mash bill is just about the same mash bill released by Castle and Key in their widely available wheated bourbon, which is 73% white corn, 10% white wheat, and 17% malted barley. So was it actually distilled and dumped and blended and everything else before it was put in this bottle and then it became forbidden? Or did she just shift the recipe to a higher grade of corn and implement low temp fermentation? I don't know. The story kind of goes on and on the more you read about it, but let's try it, because if the bourbon is good, no one's gonna really care. Okay, so here are the full details. This is a 5-year-old small batch bourbon bottled at 95.2 proof, using that cuisine quality white corn, white wheat, and malted barley. MSRP on this is $130 for a highly allocated number of hand-blended bottles being sold in Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, and South Carolina, with 3 single-barrel cask strength expressions to follow. So I don't remember what the exact number is, but I think something like 75% or 80% of yellow corn is actually not grown for human consumption, where on the flip side, white corn is just strictly grown for human consumption. It's a higher grade corn, which probably makes it more expensive, which is what probably factors into the cost of this bottle a little bit, but we'll see. Let's try it. Here we go. First thing I get is a very light toffee note. I mean, it's pretty sweet on the nose. A little vanilla, very soft. There is a hint of like that wheatiness to it that sometimes I get with Maker's Mark and other stuff like that. I mean, it's really light. I mean, everything that you would expect. It's light caramel, light toffee, very light, vanilla. Nothing really deep and rich here, especially for a 5-year-old product with, this wheat recipe. A little bit of butteriness to it too. I mean, it's really sweet, a little bit soft on the nose as expected though, especially coming at the proof point it is. So let's give it a try. Here we go. More of the toffee and vanilla is there. It kind of comes off a little bit like a cream soda a bit. A little bit effervescent, I think, as well. There's like that wheated bourbon floral component that you sometimes get in a wheated bourbon as well. I think the one thing that's really standing out though is how creamy it is, and I'm not sure if that's maybe a combination of the low temp fermentation and also the using that high grade white corn. Second sip, it got real citrusy. A lot of orange came through. More of that nuttiness, kind of like that almond. A little more of that almonds coming through. Again, I think the winning factor here is the texture. But again, it's very just sweet and easy and a little soft. And frankly, to me, I mean, it's coming off a little youthful. Oh yeah, by the third sip, this just... It's kind of like when you pour this, take 2 sips and then just kind of leave it. Because by the third sip, everything just really... I think the proof really comes to the forefront, and you see how much or how much this has been watered down. As good of a texture as this has, I will say that I think this has a really nice texture for such a low proof bourbon, but that's nothing I've never had before. Yeah, it tastes like an orange cream soda, or like a cream soda float with a little bit of, like, I don't know, maybe some orange sherbet in there. It's got a little bit of the spice again, maybe like cream soda, orange sherbet. You put a couple of slivered almonds on top, a little bit of spice to it. I mean, I don't know. There's something about it that's just... All right, last sip, I'll tell you exactly what I'm getting, and then we'll do a quick final breakdown here. This will be a good one. All right, so best thing about this bourbon is the texture of it. I've had better textures. I think it's impressive what the texture is based on the proof being so low. So I'll give it that. However, when the flavors kind of kick in, again, everything's extremely light. And I think the mash bill plays to that. The one thing this does have is a little bit of a lingering finish, but the front and mid palate just disappear every time you go back to this. Again, you get a lot of that citrus, a little bit of the toffee, the kind of like the cream soda type note that you get. It comes off a little bit effervescent as well. There is like a slight youthful characteristic to it to kind of go along with it. I mean, if it's being touted as this, thing that we've never seen before, to be honest, it just doesn't taste like it. All right, let's final break down this thing. All right, starting off with price, 130 bucks. Secondary market value, I don't know where people are gonna value this bottle quite yet, especially with all that marketing behind it. As far as availability, it is limited. It's only being, sold in, I think, 4 states. I think I mentioned Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, and South Carolina, and there will be some single barrel expressions to follow. Haven't really seen the pricing on those yet either. The value for this bottle is low. I mean, I can't, there's no even going around how low the value of this is, because not only is it a 5-year-old product, but they're touting it as something that is just like it's never been done before, but it doesn't taste like that. I would drink Wild Turkey 101 over this any day of the week. So value for this one is low. The most I'd pay for this, if I could, I wouldn't really want to pay more than 50 bucks to try this bourbon, especially with the proof point and the age. However, there's a lot of stuff going on in the background for this bottle, and it's $130. So if you want to try this bottle and you're going to pay the $130, do not pay a penny more. Alternatives for this one, I mean, where do I start? Now I know other wheated bourbons aren't going to have this mash bill, especially with that, high grade cuisine quality white corn, and I get that part of it. But when you're talking about wheated bourbons, I mean, just Maker's Mark Cask Strength 46. The Bardstown Origin is probably the biggest one that I could recommend. The Bardstown Origin wheated bourbon, 100 proof. Gosh, Weller, Larceny, Larceny barrel proof. I mean, there's so many wheated bourbons that I would take over this bottle. Lastly, what's my recommendation? Is it a skip? Is it a try before you buy? Is it a buy? Is it a buy and back it up? Look, I've met Marianne Eaves before. I didn't have a long conversation with her, but I like to observe people and how they are with other folks, and she was very nice, obviously very knowledgeable, and she's super talented. However, this bourbon to me just feels inauthentic, and the marketing and story around it feels that way too, because nothing that's happening here feels groundbreaking. Nothing feels game-changing. And it's directed right at the uneducated bourbon drinker. Like, the bottle is pretty, but it tells you nothing. So you have this story, the amazing cuisine quality white corn, the wheat, all this and that, and the low temperature fermentation. If somebody walks into the store and sees this bottle, it tells you nothing of that whole story. It's all built into the press release to sell this bottle. Because if they really wanted people to hear about the story and how authentic it is, I feel like that would be part of the bottle. At least if it was my bottle, I'd want to put that somewhere on here. All you get is Forbidden, born and bred in Bardstown, Kentucky, small batch bourbon whiskey. And you get a little sticker with the proof point on it. It says bold and elegant on top, and you have a nice cork with a logo on it. That's it. That's all that's on this bottle. So for me, can I recommend this bottle? No. This is an absolute skip for me. I bought it because I wanted to review it. I was very interested in it. Anytime somebody's using different grains and seeing how it is, I was really wanting to like this bottle. But for those of you that shell out the money and feel somewhat connected to the marketing somehow, I really hope you enjoy it more than I do. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review for the new Forbidden small batch bourbon. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that subscribe button below. Please hit the like button. And if you haven't yet, please find me on Instagram. Let me know what you guys think about this bourbon, if you've had it before, if you're excited for it, if you still want to try it. And as I always say, it's not about the whiskey, it's the people you share it with. Cheers, see you next time right here on the Master and Drum. Take care, folks.